A policeman and two detainees reportedly shot during confrontation at Freeport Police Station. Woman shot and killed in St. Anne. 6 male students arrested for housebreaking. Cavaliers are Premier League winners. This is Undiluted News. Mikey Bones reporting. According to Telecom Minister Darrell Vaz, the island currently has 315 free public Wi-Fi sites. According to Mr. Vaz, the program aims to close the gap in connectivity across communities. And as part of the Community Wi-Fi program of the Universal Service Fund, connectivity has been made available with the goal of increased internet access throughout the 63 constituencies. And even with the major improvement in telecommunications infrastructure, Mr. Vaz claims that more needs to be done, especially in rural regions. Two members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who were convicted for the 2008 execution-style killing of a man in Kingston has been freed by the Court of Appeal. Police Constable Christabel Smith and Garth Davis were convicted in November of 2019 for the murder of Omar Marshall, a resident of Blake Road in Kingston. Smith was found guilty of manslaughter and was sentenced to 6 years behind bars, while Davis was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life. He was ordered to serve 15 years before becoming eligible for parole. Among the grounds of appeal filed by their attorneys, Kimar Robinson and Genevieve Barnett, was that the account given by the eyewitness conflicts with previous stories. The attorneys also argued that there were several material inconsistencies at the trial which were never explained, and as such any retrial into the matter would be unfair to the appellants as it would leave a number of issues unresolved. Eyewitnesses had testified that in October of 2009, Mr. Marshall was in his front yard when 4 cops held and dragged him to the back of the property where he was shot. The policemen claimed they fired their guns in self-defense. The police high command has now launched an investigation into the shooting of 2 detainees and a cop at Freeport Police Station in Montego Bay, St. James on Saturday evening. A policeman who was on duty was disarmed by one of the detainees who opened fire inside the lockup, and it is said that the detainee barricaded himself inside a building on the compound and soldiers and firefighters were called in. Reports are that the problem started with a dispute between 2 detainees and one of them was stabbed. One of them was removed from the cell in a bid to cool tempers, and it is understood that one of the policemen left his firearm on a table, and the detainee who received the stab wound then reportedly grabbed the weapon, opened fire, shooting the police constable in the right arm, and then reportedly fired into the cell at the other detainee with whom he had been feuding. Both the police and the prisoners who were injured were rushed to hospital but are expected to recover. The St. Elizabeth police have detained 6 male students who are suspected to have become involved in an alleged housebreaking incident in the parish. The boys, aged 13 years to 16, all attended a prominent high school in the parish. They were arrested at a premises in the Malvern area where they were said to be boarding. They were taken in due to an ongoing investigation for housebreaking, said Superintendent College Minto, head of the St. Elizabeth Police, in an interview with reporters at the sidelines of the housebreaking ceremony for Friendship Oaks Phase 1 in Goshen in the parish. He added that 8 televisions were recovered at the premises where the raid was conducted. The Independent Commission of Investigations Indicom is probing the fatal shooting of a construction worker during a reported confrontation with the police in Davyton, Manchester on Saturday. The deceased is Andre Knight, alias Boxer, a resident of Davyton. He is said to have been in his 40s. The police reported that about 4:30 a.m. a team of law enforcers went to a house in the area with a search warrant. On entering the building, the police were reportedly confronted by Knight, who was armed with a firearm. He was subsequently shot and a pistol was seized. The injured man was assisted to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. 32-year-old Rashan Miller of Manning Hill District Stony Hill address has been charged with wounding with intent and the use of a firearm, possession of prohibited weapon, and unauthorized possession of ammunition following an incident which occurred in Lawrence Tavern in St. Andrew on Monday, April 22nd. Reports from the Lawrence Tavern police are that about 8 a.m., Miller was the driver of a motorcar that drove up with a group of men, all armed with handguns, who opened gunfire at the 3 men. The police were summoned and the injured men were taken to hospital, where all 3 were admitted and treated for gunshot wounds to their upper body. Miller was charged after being pointed out during an identification parade. Meanwhile, a woman was shot and killed by unknown assailants at her home in Helicon in Discovery Bay, St. Anne on Sunday afternoon. The deceased is Nadia Bince, a laborer who was said to be in her 40s. The incident has reportedly sent shockwaves through the community, as according to some residents there, Bince had survived a machete attack in the area in January of this year. Preliminary reports are that sometime after 2 p.m., Binns returned from church and on entering her house, loud explosions were heard by residents. The police were alerted, and on their arrival, Binns' body was found lying in a pool of blood. The body had what appeared to be multiple gunshot wounds. On to sports. NBA. New York Knicks playing in a white uniform surrendered to the Indiana Pacers at Madison Square Garden, shaming some 13 million fans across the globe. There was little hustle and they played at times with low energy in a must-win game. 7. Jalen Brunson's tremendous season finished in the locker room with a fractured left hand and injury sustained as he shot 6 for 17 over 29 minutes in a disappointing performance. The point guard said he broke his shooting hand while swiping for a ball in the third quarter and connected with Tyrese Halliburton's leg. In the end, not a single Knicks starter for the season open in October was available to finish Game 7. They were either hurt, Brunson, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, or traded. They were eliminated 130 to 109. Football English Premier League. Manchester City won a record fourth straight Premier League title on Sunday by beating West Ham 3-1 in the final game of the season. City are the first team to be crowned champion of English football top division 4 years in a row after holding off the challenge of second place Arsenal, which beat Everton 2-1. 2 goals from Phil Foden in the first half sent Pep Guardiola's team on course for their latest title. Mohamed Kudus pulled a goal back for West Ham with a stunning overhead kick, but Rodri restored City's advantage as they marched towards a sixth title in 7 seasons. City had needed to beat West Ham at Etihad Stadium to be certain of the title, having gone into the game 2 points clear at the top of the standings. In Jamaica, Cavaliers are champions of the Jamaica Premier League after defeating Mount Pleasant 4-3 on penalties in the finals at the National Stadium, avenging last year's loss to the St. Anne Club in the title game. The teams had played out a 1-1 draw in regulations and extra time before the dreaded penalty shootout. Cavaliers goalkeeper Vina Bartlett made 2 saves in the shootout, and Nicholas Hamilton, who came into the game late in the second period of extra time, scored the winner. In the earlier game, Annette Gardens whipped Waterhouse 5-1 to take the third spot. And don't forget that the best news and sports takes place on this station. If you ever miss the news, please go to YouTube, type in Jamerican Undiluted News, listen, like, share, and subscribe to keep it going. That's news and sports on your favorite radio. My name is Mikey Bones. I gone.